Hey everybody, Fantastic Girl here, and welcome back. And yes, as the title suggests, I quit my job at 7-Eleven. This happened back at July 1st because, last time you guys knew, I was working night shift because the night shift guy just up and decided to quit by not showing up, essentially. He just didn't show up, and he actually gave warning that he wasn't going to show up. So, Selena had me not work second shift and then come in on night shift. And guess what? He wasn't there. He didn't show up for 2 days, and then he tried to come back 3 days later wanting his job back, and he wanted night shift. And I was like, no, I wanted night shift because, I couldn't handle the stress of people anymore, so I had night shift. But that just kind of started a slippery slope of down into destruction because, we had hired someone who was lazy. We tried hiring other people. Not really, we didn't really hire someone so much as she got transferred in, and she's that person you see getting transferred from store to store to store in a franchise because nobody knows what to do with her. I honestly don't know how she's doing now, as I haven't really been working there. I did see her the other day when I went to go talk to Selena about something, but anyway, what happened was it was a slippery slope if we started losing people, and we were all having to take on more responsibilities. There were only two of us who actually kept taking on our responsibilities. That was me and Sotero. We actually stepped it up, and then the assistant manager ended up actually pushing Sotero to a point where he walked out. He was about to clock in, and he walked out. And I kind of applaud him for that now, because it was just like, yeah, we're in a shitty situation, but, yeah. That's what you get for pushing someone too far, because you are literally piling all your work on him. That's what the assistant manager was starting to do at that point. We had hired to do night shift right when I started working. She literally made the assistant manager give up on trying to do anything being the assistant manager. And it slowly went down to she just didn't want to do jack shit other than stand around, go on, collect a paycheck. Most of the stuff that was her job had fallen onto Sotero, which was our early morning person, because he had to go to school. And you should not mess with a person who's literally been... This is his second time working there because he had lost his previous job after he quit working there. Okay, he's an architect major, so he got a job at a firm, quit 7-Eleven, and then he lost that job at the firm and came back to 7-Eleven. But he ended up doing most of the work that the assistant manager didn't want to do because the other girl, I'm going to call her Bitch Face McGee because she was a Bitch Face McGee whenever I was working there. I don't know now. I don't know if she's changed or not because of me quitting, but I don't know. And because she didn't want to do the job that Bitch Face McGee wouldn't do, they essentially left most of it to Sotero and me to do. Which I was fine with it to a point. I could understand we were short-staffed and stuff, and we were having the hardest time hiring people because we had hired 3 different people. They showed up, got their TABC stuff done, and then left. Never showed up to another day. So yeah, we were having that issue, which kind of sucks, and I kind of hate the fact that people are willing to take advantages of stores who are willing to pay for their TABC license and their food handler's license just to get that done. It's kind of fucked up, especially if you know for a fact that the place is severely short-staffed. We were down 4 people by the time I left, and I feel shitty for leaving when I did, but not there yet. So he quit. So it was just me, the manager, the assistant manager, and Bitch Face McGee. And literally immediately after that happened, I started being the only one doing truck. I'm not supposed to do truck. The reason why the manager never did it was because she has to be the one to do paperwork. She has to do all the paperwork. She has to run the money to the bank. She has to... then after all that, she has to be at the district office to deal with paperwork there. It's just... I'd rather her not mess with that stuff when she's having to deal with the rest of that, especially the fact we were switching companies. And this would be the second time I've worked at a place where we were in the middle of switching companies. Oh my god, is that hell on earth? But anyway, now when I first started out, there was only 4 of us. There was me, the manager, the assistant manager, and this dude who worked night shift before we got a night shift chick. But me and the assistant manager, she would work mid-shift. So we were able to quickly knock out truck, no problems. But when this time came around, they didn't do jack shit. They would never touch truck. Like, the only part of truck they used to not touch was tobacco, because I knew how to put it up quickly, efficiently, and in an organized manner to where Henry, our audit dude, didn't have to spend so much time trying to track down where everything was. So I was having to do all that, but nobody was willing to do anything else. So after the 3rd week of doing it, like the first week, it was more or less they hardly did any of truck. They did some of truck. And by the end of that, I had thrown out a disc in my back. You know, went to the chiropractor, got x-rays, got that shit done. It wasn't that bad. Because that weekend I had off and I had visited my friend Megan. So that way I could, you know, have fun with that. Then the next week, there was only 2 totes that ever got done. So I had to do that all because that was actually the time the manager actually said, I need you to do truck if we don't get the rest of truck done earlier in the day. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then I guess they saw that I was able to do all of truck in one night. This is 8 hours, mind you, and truck usually takes 8 hours with 2 people. The only reason why it was easy to do 8 hours with 1 person is Monday nights are our least busiest nights, and hardly anybody comes in on night shift anyway. So it's very easy to do, but it also means I can't do any of my night shift duties, and the store looks like complete and utter trash in the morning. But, you know, manager was okay with that because I had to, truck had to get done. The week after that, I was told they had to get truck done. They were supposed to get truck done. I come in, truck was not touched at all. And how I knew last time that only 2 totes were done is we have an inventory. And you have to check stuff off the inventory just to make sure everything came in that was supposed to come in and all that good junk. Excuse the lawn mowing outside. Dusty's dad is mowing the lawn. And at that point, that was a point in time in my life where I was also dealing with some drama with some people me and Megan were friends with, and also other emotional issues. And by the time I got to that 3rd week of having to do all of truck, I literally was at my breaking point of I'm either going to end up in the hospital, because the week before that I blew my knee out. My knee was completely fucked up. Like, I don't know what happened to it. Even the doctor was like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with your knee, but every time I knelt down it was like a sharp pain going through my knee. Now my knee is just fucked up. And so I had to, I had gotten to a point where it was enough. I knew that by the end of that week, I was either, because of how much they were putting on me, I was having to do 24 hours worth of work in 8 hours every single day. No days off. Hadn't had a day off in a month. I was barely getting good sleep. I wasn't getting deep sleep. I was getting large quantities of sleep, but not deep enough sleep. I was barely eating, barely drinking water. Most of my liquids were caffeine related. Only time I really ate was during my shift, and I would have to slowly eat. And I knew I was either going to end up in the hospital or in a mental asylum because of, again, the emotional issues and stuff I was having at the time. And I had enough. That Dusty had gotten a job where he is actually now supposed to be getting, I think it's this month when he starts getting paid $11 an hour. A month after that, I think it's $12. I don't remember. I'd have to ask Dusty. I finally got to the point where, so he actually told me, you know, if you want to quit, you can, because Dusty's dad is currently working on getting retirement. That's why he's home right now, outside, mowing the lawn, instead of Dusty mowing the lawn at night, because we've been having a lot of rain. That's why it looks gloomy. I also need to get a new camera and a new setup, but I don't have time for that right now. So I was gonna, like, when the manager was supposed to come in that morning, I was going to tell her I can't do a 2 weeks notice. I have to leave. I can't do this anymore. Because I'm pretty sure if I did 2 weeks notice, I probably would have ended up in the hospital again. And I didn't want, and like, the 2 times I did go to the hospital, they just told me, oh, it was stress, when I know for a fact it was most likely not stress. It's just they couldn't pinpoint the problem after having to sit in the waiting room for 6 hours. So, there's that. I finally just had enough. But the manager didn't show up that day. And it was instead the assistant manager, and I'm sorry, she did not deserve to hear it straight from me that I quit. Because she was mostly the reason why I quit, and I knew if I said something to her, if I told her I was quitting, I probably would have lost my shit had she tried to pull the shit she pulled when Soltero left. So, yeah. And, you know, that's why I wasn't uploading videos since those drunk videos, because I was just so stressed with work, so stressed with the people I was dealing with at the time, just so stressed with everything, and I couldn't handle it. I didn't want to end up in the hospital. I really didn't. I don't need any more medical bills. I don't need to have to deal with that. I don't. It's too much to have to deal with. So, I chose to take care of myself. Because I told myself a long time ago, I'm going to take care of myself before I worry about anything else. And that's what I did. Took care of myself. I know that overworking myself in terrible conditions like that is not good for anybody. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, well, it's just a job's a job. You need to make all the money you can, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. My house was also falling apart. Nobody was taking care of it because Dusty's dad was, at the time, he was still recovering from his hip surgery from when he had to get his hip replaced. So I wasn't going to be like, well, you need to go do shit, baby. We also had a puppy who was behind on his training. It was the best decision I made because now the house is getting clean, things are getting done around the house, laundry's getting done. Laundry is my biggest issue. But, yeah. So, anyway, the next the next update is going to be my pet situation. I have had a lot of things happen with my pets, and we've changed some animals around, so I'll explain that in the next video. So I'll see you guys later.